Every now and then I find myself doing something ridiculous, like reading The Great Gatsby in Italian, even though I'm not fluent at all. In fact, I'm barely functional. Hi, I'm Zedlo, and this is a departure from my regularly scheduled Mandarin content because I have actually stopped learning Mandarin. Honestly, after 11 years, I've had it and I'm giving up. No, I'm just kidding. In 2024, I came to Italy kind of by accident, and after 3 weeks here, I decided that I would spend the next 2 years learning Italian. I used a method that I will drop as soon as I'm sure that it actually works, so I'm not just an engagement farming grifter. So here I am, 2 years later, doing exactly what I promised I would do. The speaking part of the language is going slowly but still going, I promise. And since it's cloudy outside for the first time in a while, I'm inside working on my literacy. Now this did include several hours of frankly psychotic somebody please check on me newspaper clipping exercises, fueled by 2 mocha pots of coffee. I had to make 2 because I honestly don't know how to do it and I needed to practice. We're just gonna leave that on the table and move past it. Now one of the nicest things about practicing reading Italian is that it uses the same letters as English and it has a lot of cognates or close cognates with both English and Spanish, which I've already studied. A couple months ago, you probably saw the post where I was reading Il Piccolo Principe without translating anything or highlighting words, and I managed to read about 120 pages of pure Italian without really stopping to look anything up and getting the basic gist of it. I'll get into the specifics of this later on, not today. I also did the same method with this manga that I bought in Florence. A comic is nice because there's pictures to clue you in on what the words mean. A few days after getting here, I did pick up Palomar, which I thought might be easy because I read the English version a couple months ago. That assumption was false because Palomar is all philosophy with a thin layer of story to tie everything together. But the main thing I wanted to talk about today was the difference between speaking and reading. Reading is a very low pressure situation. I can mull it all over on my own sweet schedule. This world is only happening when I'm opening the pages and reading the words. When I close Il Grande Gatsby, all the characters freeze. When you're standing at the counter of a cafeteria ordering a sandwich and there's a line of 10 people behind you, you don't get the luxury of closing the book and taking a break. Situations like ordering in a restaurant, talking to people on the street, showing the police your passport, asking for an orange juice on a plane. These are all physical situations that have immediate consequences. The pressure's a lot higher. Speaking is actually a performance skill. So just like playing a piano on stage or delivering a speech to a conference, you have to draw on performance skills to speak in a second language. This is why I freeze up when I'm speaking a second language and someone hits me with a question because I didn't practice the answer to that question. Now, I call reading a low pressure situation, but it's actually even more relaxed than that. It's a zero pressure situation. I can take as long as I want to read this book, and if I fail, nobody knows. Except for the dozens or hundreds or thousands of people who just heard me promise to read The Great Gatsby in Italian. I love reading in a second language. I love learning vocabulary from a novel, but that vocabulary is going to sit dead in the back of my head until I go out on the street and actually use some of these words. This is why I'm trying to divide my trip pretty equally into spending time at home studying and going out on the street and using the language. Fortunately, I do have people in my life here that I can talk to, and they're understanding enough of my limited language capabilities that it is kind of a medium pressure situation when I talk to them in Italian. It's not the same panic of ordering a panina with 25 people behind me waiting for me to hurry up, but it is just enough pressure that I start to practice the performance skill of speaking and strengthening the mental muscles of running words back and forth in your brain warehouse and training your mouth muscles to make the words sound right. In summation, this is important, but also going out and actually practicing the language you're learning in varying medium to high pressure situations. Yeah, it's uncomfortable, but if it is comfortable, you're doing it wrong.